In 2008, the World Health Organization launched the Safer Surgery Saves Lives initiative, spearheaded by the surgical checklist. It comprised 3 phases to be completed: the sign-in before the anaesthetic, the timeout just before the start of surgery, and the sign-out at the end of surgery.
Why did you perform your audit?
In 2009, the WHO checklist was introduced into the NHS, and since I have seen a range of enthusiasm and adherence at different trusts. On commencing work at Queen Victoria Hospital, I noticed that the attitude towards all 3 phases of the checklist was more informal than I was used to, and in particular anaesthetic participation in the sign-in seemed inconsistent. I therefore decided to audit this as a prompt for educational sessions to help improve compliance.
How did you perform the audit?
The initial audit covered a 3-week period and captured 67 patients having general anaesthetics across 22 lists. It consisted of a short interview with the operating department practitioner assigned to the list, aiming to establish whether the anaesthetist explicitly engaged with checking 4 core elements of the sign-in: patient identity, the consent form, surgical site marking, and patient allergies.
What did the initial audit show?
Anaesthetic participation in the sign-in was low. Surgical site marking was checked 21% of the time, patient identity 22%, allergies 43%, and most worryingly, anaesthetists only formally checked 9% of consent forms before commencing a general anaesthetic.
What did you do with these findings?
I presented the results to the anaesthetic department at a clinical governance meeting. I combined them with a presentation about the inception of the WHO checklist and the theory behind checklist use in industry and how this applies to surgery. In short, I tried to enthuse rather than reprimand, in the hope that achieving buy-in by the anaesthetists into the underlying theory would have a longer-lasting effect. I reinforced this by showing excerpts from a video produced at a different trust on ideal checklist compliance to show what can be achieved. I also made a similar presentation at a perioperative staff meeting. The aim to educate, change attitudes, and empower the staff to insist on better engagement from clinicians during all phases of the checklist. A key message was that a checklist performed mindlessly is arguably more dangerous than no checks, as it creates a false sense of security.
How did you assess the impact of these presentations?
Subjectively, I got a lot of positive feedback about both presentations and noticed a change in the attitude to the checklist with greater engagement. As an objective measure, I conducted a re-audit 3 months later.
What did the re-audit show?
Anaesthetic participation in the sign-in markedly improved. Patient identity was checked 62% of the time, marking 57%, allergies 100%, and consent forms 51%.